Hey everybody, welcome to What's Up Wednesday. For the address this week, I'd like to talk about a topic, you're only as good as your worst day. And I know I've addressed this idea before, but I read an article that I thought was really interesting that got me thinking about this. And I'd say that we tend to measure performance by what happens when things are going well. As humans, that's normal. Yet how we as people, organizations, companies, leaders do on our best day isn't really all that instructive. To find the truth, I think we need to look at what happens on our worst day. And there's a quote by Publilius Cyrus that anyone can steer the ship when the sea is calm. And I find that so incredibly true. It's when things get tough that we really separate ourselves from others. And we all know that we have good, easy days and we have tough, not so easy days, or maybe not so good days. I don't want to call them bad days because they're not necessarily bad. I'm a believer that wisdom comes from experience, and wisdom generally comes from bad experiences, losses. It's not our wins, it's not our successes, it's our failures, it's our tough lessons learned that kind of build wisdom and resilience as humans. And I think that's one thing you can't replace with education is the experience of failing. So when we kind of look at this topic, you're only as good as your worst day. Think about it from a couple different perspectives. First off, products and services are only as good as when they don't break and when everything is functioning fine. If you think about it that way, it's completely true. From a customer standpoint, companies are only as good as how they behave when things go wrong. Think of a public relations crisis. Think of the oil spill, the Deepwater Horizon, and how BP responded, right? People measured them by how they responded, not so much by the oil spill, but how they responded to that spill. And many would say that that was a case study in mastery of managing a crisis for a lot of reasons, which I'm not going to really talk about today. But when we think about, in general, leaders are only as good as how they deal with things in times of uncertainty and in times of fear. And I think that there's a lot of truth to that. And when the word leader is used, as I've mentioned in the past, people are thinking CEO, they're thinking politician, but really a leader is anybody who has influence over others. It might be a frontline manager. It might be somebody who is just kind of the unspoken or unheralded leader within a crew. It can really be anybody. But, ultimately, I think leaders, they prove who they are, not when everything's going great, but when things aren't going so well. That's when they really have the opportunity to shine and help people pull through those tough things. So um, I think this is an inspiring topic to really think about and to consider and to plan for, because I think that being able to respond to things when they're not going well takes planning. It takes foresight. It takes process. And I know we were just having a discussion within our internal group a week ago that when something doesn't go according to plan, the first thing that should happen is everybody should just stop. They should stop. We call it a huddle, but get together, talk about the facts, determine what we need to do to find out the information that we don't have, and then reconvene as a group, figure out the course of action, what we're going to do, how we're going to approach it, and then look to solutions. But so often it's that whole shoot then aim approach, right? When you think of a target and you got a gun, you're going to aim at the target, then you're going to shoot. And a lot of times in crisis mode, people start shooting before they ever aim. They start looking for solutions before they truly understand the problem. So stopping, considering all the details, and then gathering the information necessary to make a decision towards a solution is probably the best way to handle something. I think that there's an opportunity to take our worst days, our worst situations, to learn from them, to grow from them, and to become better from them. And again, you know, in the heat of whatever that situation may be, it may be a great loss personally. It may be a business failure. It may be losing a piece of business you really wanted. I think we can learn a tremendous amount from those examples and those situations that make us better. And if we don't, I think we're missing an enormous opportunity, because every one of those failures or shortcomings is a lesson learned. And when we have a process around reviewing those, we're going to get better because of them. So take that worst day, take that terrible situation, make it a positive, get better because of it personally and professionally, and see where you go from there. We'll see you next Wednesday.